The edge of extinction. The vast observation deck of Outpost Omega offered a panoramic view of the stars, but Commander Maya Chen found no comfort in their distant light. Her reflection stared back at her from the reinforced glass, dark circles under determined eyes, short black hair showing premature streaks of gray. At 35, she looked a decade older, worn down by 3 years of relentless war. "Commander," a voice called from behind her. "The Council is ready." Maya nodded without turning. "I'll be right there, Lieutenant Reed." The footsteps retreated, leaving her alone with the stars once more. Somewhere out there, the Radiant Empire's fleet was closing in on humanity's last sanctuary. Outpost Omega, hidden in an unremarkable asteroid belt at the edge of what was once human space, housed the pitiful remains of Earth's military command and the last 50,000 civilian refugees. 3 years ago, the Radiant Empire had emerged from the unknown regions of the Orion Arm, their crystalline ships gleaming with otherworldly technology as they swept through human colonies with mechanical precision. Their Empress, a being known only as Ziara, demanded humanity's absolute subjugation. Earth had fallen within 6 months. Maya's hands clenched into fists. The memory of Earth's bombardment still haunted her dreams, orbital strikes that boiled away oceans and cracked continents. 3 billion dead in a single day. She straightened her uniform and headed for the council chamber. The corridor walls bore the scratches and dents of hasty retrofitting as the station, once a mining operation, had been converted into humanity's last refuge. The air recyclers hummed with constant strain, processing oxygen for 3 times their designed capacity. The council chamber fell silent as Maya entered. Around the battered conference table sat the 7 remaining military commanders and 3 civilian representatives, all that remained of human leadership. Commander Chen. Admiral Cato nodded. At 72, he was the oldest person in the room, his weathered face a map of wrinkles. "The latest intelligence reports are in." Maya took her seat. "Show me." The central holographic display flickered to life, showing the current disposition of the Radiant Empire's forces. Hundreds of ships, represented by crimson markers, spread across what had once been human space. "They found us," Admiral Cato said simply. "Long-range scans detected a scout fleet entering the Helios sector yesterday. Based on their trajectory, they'll reach Omega in approximately 72 hours. The civilian representative, Dr. Eliza Warren, leaned forward. "How many ships?" "At least 30 capital vessels, with support craft," replied Colonel Zhang, head of intelligence. "More than enough to finish us off." Maya studied the display, her mind racing. Outpost Omega had 12 functional warships, outdated cruisers and frigates salvaged from various defeats, against 30 capital ships. They wouldn't last an hour. "What options do we have?" Maya asked, though she already knew the answer. The silence that followed confirmed her fears until Admiral Cato cleared his throat. "There is one possibility," he said hesitantly. "Project Phoenix." The room temperature seemed to drop. Project Phoenix was little more than a desperate rumor, a final contingency plan so classified that even most of the people in this room had only heard whispers. "That's just a myth," Colonel Zhang scoffed. "A bedtime story we tell ourselves to sleep better." Admiral Cato's gaze remained steady. "It's real, and it's our only hope." Maya looked between them. "What exactly is Project Phoenix?" Admiral Cato tapped his security badge against the table console. The holographic display changed, showing a distant star system Maya didn't recognize. "When the war began, Fleet Admiral Harrison initiated a black project," Cato explained. "He diverted resources, ships, and personnel to a hidden location beyond the edge of chartered space. The goal was to build a reserve fleet that would remain unknown to the enemy." "That's impossible," Colonel Zhang protested. "The resources required were substantial," Cato agreed. But Harrison was persuasive. 20% of Earth's shipyards were secretly relocated before the fall. They've been working continuously for 3 years. Maya leaned forward. And they built. What exactly? Cato's fingers danced across the console again. The display zoomed in on what appeared to be massive construction facilities orbiting a gas giant. 200 supercarriers, Cato said, his voice barely above a whisper, each carrying enough firepower to match 5 of our standard battle cruisers, with advanced shield technology reverse-engineered from captured Radiant vessels. The room erupted in disbelief. Maya raised a hand, silencing them. If this fleet exists, why haven't they helped us before now? She demanded. Because they weren't ready, Cato replied. And because the moment they reveal themselves, the Empress will throw everything she has at them. It had to be an all-or-nothing gambit. Maya studied the Admiral's face. You've been in contact with them. It wasn't a question. Cato nodded slowly. Harrison died 6 months ago. His successor, Admiral Wong, sent a quantum-encrypted message last week. The fleet is ready. For the first time in years, Maya felt a dangerous emotion stirring in her chest. Hope. What's the plan? She asked. We need to draw the Empress's forces into a specific configuration, Cato explained. The Phoenix fleet will emerge from multiple jump points, catching her armada in a 3-dimensional pincer movement. Maya's tactical mind immediately grasped the strategy. You want to use Omega as bait? Yes, Cato confirmed. We make our stand here, fight hard enough to convince the Empress to commit her reserves. When the bulk of her fleet is engaged, the Phoenix fleet strikes. And if this miracle fleet doesn't show up? Colonel Zhang asked. Then we die, as we would have anyway, Maya said flatly. The council chamber fell silent again, each person wrestling with their thoughts. Maya stared at the holographic display, watching the menacing red dots of the enemy fleet slowly advancing toward their position. We need to vote, Dr. Warren said finally. One by one, the council members cast their votes. It was unanimous. They would make their stand at Omega. As the meeting adjourned, Maya remained behind, studying the star map. Admiral Cato approached, his steps slow and measured. There's something else you should know, Commander, he said quietly. Admiral Wong requested specifically that you coordinate the defense of Omega. He said Harrison always spoke highly of your tactical abilities. Maya looked up, surprised. She had met Fleet Admiral Harrison only once, briefly, before the fall of Earth. I'll do my best, she promised. You'll need this. Cato handed her a small quantum communicator. Direct line to the Phoenix fleet. The encryption changes every 30 seconds. Maya accepted the device, feeling its weight in her palm. Get some rest, Commander, Cato advised. The next 72 hours will determine the fate of our species. The Radiant Empire's advance fleet arrived in 58 hours, not 72. Maya stood on the bridge of the UES Defiant, Omega's largest remaining warship, as the sensors picked up the first quantum signatures of enemy vessels tearing holes in reality as they dropped out of faster-than-light travel. 37 ships detected, reported Lieutenant Sonia Reed, her fingers flying over the tactical console. Configuration matches Colonel Zhang's intelligence. Maya nodded, strapping herself into the command chair. Around her, the bridge crew worked with quiet efficiency, each person aware that these might be humanity's final hours. All vessels report ready, Commander, Communications Officer Parker announced. Civilian evacuation to the emergency shelters is complete. Very good, Maya replied. Begin jamming protocols and deploy the minefield. The Defiant shuddered slightly as its electronic warfare suite powered up, flooding local space with interference designed to disrupt the enemy's targeting systems. Beyond the viewport, hundreds of stealth mines activated, their propulsion systems pushing them toward predetermined coordinates. Enemy fleet is forming up, Reed reported. They're launching fighter screens. Maya studied the tactical display. The enemy formation was precisely as expected, a classic envelopment pattern designed to surround the station and cut off any escape routes. They're being cautious, Maya observed. They don't know our exact strength. She tapped her command console. All ships, maintain position behind the asteroid screen. Hold fire until they commit to the approach. The minutes ticked by with excruciating slowness. The radiant ships advanced methodically, their crystalline hulls refracting starlight in hypnotic patterns. Their fighter craft, sleek, dart-like vessels, probed forward, searching for hidden threats. The first mine detonated, catching 3 enemy fighters in its blast radius. The explosion flickered silently against the backdrop of space. "They've spotted the minefield," Reed announced. "Enemy capital ships are holding position. They're deploying their main battery." Maya had seen the Radiant Empire's main weapons before, devastating energy projectors that could slice through Earth's strongest armor like paper. She keyed her communicator. "All ships, prepare for evasive maneuvers. Station Omega, activate your shields now." The space around Outpost Omega warped slightly as the station's energy shields came online, jury-rigged from salvaged technology and operating at barely 60% efficiency. It wouldn't survive a concentrated barrage, but it might buy them time. "Incoming transmission," Parker called out. It's the Empress herself." Maya's heart skipped a beat. On screen. The main view screen flickered, then resolved into the image of Empress Sierra. Unlike her crystalline ships, the Empress appeared almost human, tall and regal, with luminescent skin that seemed to shift colors with her emotions. Only her eyes betrayed her alien nature, entirely black, with pinpricks of light like distant stars. "Commander Chen," the Empress spoke, her voice melodious, despite the underlying menace. "I'm pleased to finally meet the architect of so many inconveniences." Maya kept her expression neutral. "Empress Sierra, I've come to offer you terms," Zira continued. "Surrender Outpost Omega and all remaining human vessels. In exchange, I will spare the lives of your civilian population. They will be granted protectorate status within the Radiant Empire." "Like the protectorate status you granted Earth?" Maya asked coldly. Ziara's skin rippled with colors. Anger, perhaps, or amusement. Earth's resistance necessitated a demonstration. It was regrettable but required. Maya's fingers gripped the armrests of her command chair. "We both know you're going to attack regardless of what I say. So let me be clear. Humanity will never surrender to you." Ziara studied her for a long moment. Such defiance, even at the end. "Your species is fascinating in its stubbornness." She made a gesture to someone off-screen. "You have 1 hour to reconsider. After that, I will erase what remains of humanity from the galaxy." The transmission cut off. 1 hour, Lieutenant Reed said quietly. "Why wait?" "She wants us to suffer," Maya replied. "To contemplate our doom." She stood up, addressing the bridge crew. "But we're going to use that hour. Send the signal to Admiral Wong. It's time for Phoenix to rise." The counter-strike. The hour passed with agonizing slowness. On the bridge of the UES Defiant, Commander Maya Chen watched the tactical display as the Radiant Empire's fleet methodically arranged itself into attack formation. The enemy vessels formed a 3-layered sphere around Outpost Omega, their crystalline hulls glittering against the blackness of space. Enemy weapon systems powering up. Lieutenant Reed reported, her voice steady despite the fear evident in her eyes. "They'll be in optimal firing range in 3 minutes." Maya nodded, her gaze shifting to the quantum communicator in her hand. There had been only one brief message from Admiral Wong. "Phoenix is in flight. Hold the line. All ships, final positions." Maya ordered, "Prepare for defensive fire pattern Omega-6." The 12 remaining human vessels moved into their assigned positions, a desperate formation designed to shield the station's most vulnerable sections. They were hopelessly outgunned, but every minute they could delay the enemy would give the Phoenix fleet more time to arrive. If it existed at all. 1 minute to optimal firing range, Reed announced. Maya took a deep breath. "All batteries, target the lead vessels. Fire on my command." The bridge fell silent save for the soft beeping of consoles and the hum of the ship's systems. Through the viewport, Maya could see the Radiant vessels advancing, their weapon ports glowing with gathering energy. 30 seconds. Maya's hand hovered over the fire control. Stand by, tow. Commander, the sensor officer interrupted, his voice rising with excitement. I'm detecting quantum disruptions, multiple signatures at the edge of the system. Maya's heart leaped. Location. Grid coordinates 227 by 184, 315 by 092, 147 by 263. He looked up, eyes wide. They're everywhere, Commander. Surrounding the enemy fleet. The tactical display suddenly blossomed with new contacts. Dozens, then hundreds of signatures emerging from faster-than-light travel at strategic points throughout the system. Maya watched in stunned silence as the newcomers resolved into massive warships unlike any human vessel she had ever seen. The Phoenix fleet had arrived. Incoming transmission from the IHS Resurrection, Communications Officer Parker announced. Admiral Wong is requesting to speak with you. Maya nodded, her throat tight. Put him through. The view screen shifted to show a stern-faced Asian man in his 60s, wearing a uniform adorned with 5 stars. Behind him, Maya glimpsed a bridge far more advanced than her own. Commander Chin, Admiral Wong nodded. Sorry we cut it so close. Jump calculations took longer than expected. You're right on time, Admiral, Maya replied, unable to keep a smile from her face. Your arrival is most welcome. We detected the enemy formation, Wong said. They've committed their forces exactly as we hoped. My fleet is moving into position now. He paused. Get your people clear, Commander. We'll handle it from here. Before Maya could respond, the view screen shifted again, this time showing Empress Sierra. The alien ruler's luminescent skin had darkened to a stormy gray. Her star-filled eyes narrowed to slits. What trickery is this? She demanded. Where did these ships come from? Maya allowed herself a moment of satisfaction. You thought you'd destroyed us, Empress. But humanity isn't so easily erased. Impossible, Sierra hissed. We tracked every shipyard, every military installation. There was nothing left. You missed one, Maya replied simply. A fatal oversight. The Empress's skin rippled with dark colors. It changes nothing. My forces still outnumber yours. Count again, Maya suggested. As if on cue, more quantum disruptions tore open the fabric of spacetime. The second wave of the Phoenix fleet arrived. Another 100 supercarriers, each flanked by escorts and fighter squadrons. All ships, Maya called out. Execute defensive pattern Delta. Coordinate with the Phoenix fleet. The battle erupted in a spectacular display of firepower. The Phoenix fleet's first salvo struck with devastating precision, targeting the Radiant Empire's command vessels. Energy weapons of unprecedented power lashed out, cutting through the crystalline hulls of enemy ships. The Phoenix fleet is using some kind of advanced targeting system, Reed reported, amazement in her voice. They're hitting weak points we never even knew existed in the Radiant ships. Maya watched as the battle unfolded. The Phoenix fleet moved with practiced coordination, their formation shifting fluidly to counter each enemy maneuver. For the first time since the war began, the Radiant Empire was on the defensive. Enemy fleet is attempting to regroup, Reed announced. They're pulling back to Sector 4. They're trying to open a corridor for escape, Maya realized. She opened a channel to Admiral Wong. Admiral, they're regrouping in Sector 4. They're going to run. Not if we can help it, Wong replied. Moving to intercept. The Phoenix fleet adjusted its formation, closing the escape route. On the tactical display, Maya saw the enemy fleet's organization beginning to break down as individual ship commanders made desperate decisions. The Empress's flagship is moving, Reed reported suddenly. It's heading directly for us. Maya's eyes narrowed as she studied the tactical data. The massive Radiant flagship, nearly 3 times the size of the Defiant, had broken formation and was accelerating toward Outpost Omega, weapons charging. She's going to try to take us with her, Maya realized. All ships, concentrate fire on the flagship. The Defiance shuddered as it brought its weapons to bear, joined by the other human vessels. Their combined firepower struck the approaching flagship, but its advanced shields absorbed most of the impact. Minimal damage to enemy shields, Reed reported tensely. They'll be in firing range in 30 seconds. Maya made a split-second decision. Helm, set intercept course. Full power to forward shields. The bridge crew exchanged alarmed glances. Commander, we can't match their firepower. The helmsman protested. We don't need to beat them, Maya replied. We just need to disrupt their attack run long enough for the Phoenix fleet to reach us. She opened a ship-wide channel. All hands, brace for impact. The Defiant surged forward, its engines straining as it accelerated toward the much larger enemy vessel. Maya watched through the viewport as the distance closed rapidly, the crystalline spires of the radiant flagship looming larger by the second. 10 seconds to impact, the helmsman called out. Maya held her breath. Hold course. At the last possible moment, Maya barked a new order. Hard to port. All power to lateral thrusters. The Defiant veered sharply, narrowly avoiding a direct collision, but deliberately scraping along the side of the radiant flagship. The impact was tremendous. Alarms blared across the bridge as the shields flared and failed, and the hull screamed in protest. But the maneuver achieved its purpose. The flagship's carefully calculated firing solution was disrupted, its main weapons discharging harmlessly into empty space instead of striking Outpost Omega. Direct hit on their primary weapon array. Reed called out, her voice rising with excitement. They're venting atmosphere from multiple decks. The Defiant tumbled away from the enemy vessel, its systems damaged but intact. Through the shattered viewport, Maya saw 3 Phoenix fleet carriers converging on the radiant flagship, their weapons charging. Empress Sierra is hailing us again, Parker announced. Maya straightened in her chair, ignoring the blood trickling from a cut on her forehead. Put her through. Sierra appeared on screen, her surroundings chaotic as officers rushed about behind her. Her luminescent skin had darkened to an almost black shade, with flashes of deep red pulsing beneath the surface. This isn't over, human, she snarled. You've won a battle, nothing more. The Radiant Empire spans 1,000 worlds. We will rebuild our fleets in return. Perhaps, Maya acknowledged. But you'll do so knowing that humanity isn't the easy prey you thought we were. She leaned forward. And next time, we'll be coming for you. The Empress's expression shifted, a flicker of something, respect, perhaps, or fear, crossing her alien features before the transmission abruptly cut off. Her flagship is jumping out, Reed reported. Emergency FTL activation. They're gone. Across the battlefield, the remaining Radiant ships were following their Empress's example, jumping to faster-than-light travel in a desperate bid to escape. The Phoenix fleet gave chase, picking off stragglers and damaged vessels. We've done it, Lieutenant Reed whispered, disbelief evident in her voice. We actually won. Maya nodded slowly, allowing herself to feel the full weight of what they had achieved. It wasn't just a victory, it was a turning point. For the first time in 3 years, humanity had hope. The quantum communicator in her hand chimed. Admiral Wong's face appeared on the small screen. Commander Chen, he said, a rare smile crossing his features. The day is ours. The enemy fleet is in full retreat. Casualties? Maya asked. 23 Phoenix vessels lost. Another 45 damage, Wong reported. But we destroyed or captured over 200 enemy ships. It's the most significant defeat the Radiant Empire has ever suffered. Maya felt a surge of pride. What happens now? Now, Wong said, his expression hardening with determination. We take the fight to them. The Phoenix fleet was built not just for defense, but for reclamation. It's time to take back what's ours. As the Admiral spoke, Maya gazed out at the stars beyond the viewport. Somewhere out there were the lost colonies of humanity, worlds conquered and occupied by the Radiant Empire, worlds that now had a chance for liberation. The war wasn't over, it was just beginning. But for the first time, humanity was no longer fighting for survival. They were fighting for victory. And the Empress had learned a costly lesson. Never underestimate the resilience, ingenuity, and determination of the human spirit. As the Phoenix fleet regrouped around Outpost Omega, Maya Chen allowed herself to imagine a future where humanity reclaimed its place among the stars, not as conquered subjects of the Radiant Empire, but as architects of their own destiny. The battle was won. The war continued. But now, humanity fought with hope.